Obviously, it's been one crazy year for you going from Edmonton to New Jersey and then watching Edmonton make the playoffs and your team not. How difficult was it to watch the Oilers in the playoffs? And come on, be honest. Did you want them to lose?
I wouldn't say I wanted them to lose, but, it was nice to finally see, them maybe get eliminated. It's a tough thing to describe to people. I think there's been enough time that's passed since the trade has happened that, you finally just kind of, it is what it is now, and I'm a Devil, and I'm excited to see what we can do next season. So, my focus these days and this summer is just becoming the best player that I can be and show up to camp next year and help my team however I can. And I'm excited that that's in New Jersey.
Yeah, there's some breaks you got to get, right? Like we all watched Joe Thornton. You would have watched him as a little kid. I'm watching him as a teenager, and it's remarkable. As great a player as he is, a lock Hall of Famer, that it takes till age 36 to get to a Stanley Cup final. You got to get breaks. You got to get bounces. You watch all the other sports, so there's great quarterbacks that can't get to a Super Bowl. Look at Mike Trout can't get to a World Series. You have to have some bounces in your way, and you got a lot of road ahead of you. You got 2/3, 3/4 of your career left to get those bounces.
Yeah, for sure. That's the way I look at it. And, I had a very successful junior hockey career, and I'm grateful for that. And, there's still, like you said, there's still a lot of road ahead of me. And, I think that there's guys in the league that, sometimes they make it right away. They make it to the finals or win a cup right away earlier in their career, and they don't get a taste of it for a long time. So it goes both ways. And like I said, I'm excited for what we have in New Jersey and the player that I can keep becoming and keep improving on.
Well, what did you think of the draft lottery? I mean, you're watching it and everything comes up roses.
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised, but, I'm pretty familiar with number one overall picks. And, at the end of the day, it's a great thing for our team and our organization. It was a weird draft lottery, though, with the odds stacked the way they were, and then how it all played out. It's almost too bad that in Edmonton we tanked all those years and we got first overall picks. It kind of ruined it for everyone else that's doing the same thing. So, it's great that we got it, and we're all excited for what kind of player we can get.
That's the one thing I'd wonder. You were almost the start of a real. I mean, they drafted Jordan Eberle and actually made a really good pick a couple years earlier. But when you get there, Taylor, it's probably tough because you're putting up good numbers for a first-year player, good numbers for a second-year player, very good numbers for a second-year player. And you looked around, and they're still trading veterans, and they're still, that as much as the coaches are trying, as much as the players are trying, upstairs they're thinking another top five. I mean, we all saw it with the Leafs last year. Who's kidding who? It's frustrating for a player to go out and give your all and know that the future's still far away, right?
Yeah, that was frustrating when in the dressing room and the coaches and our game plan is to try and win games, but sometimes the ultimate plan really isn't to do that at some points, especially early in my career there. So, I think that's hard on a young player. I don't think that, I think the biggest thing for development in young players is seeing how to win games. And, maybe that could have been done more in Edmonton, early on, but, I'm not really sure. It was a lot of fun to play there early in my career for sure. And the friendships that I made and, I think that I learned a lot about myself, just playing in that market and seeing what that all entails.
Taylor Hall is our guest on Brady and Price. He had 71 points in 2 playoff runs that led to 2 straight Memorial Cup wins for Windsor. Spitfires awaiting the winner of Erie St. John tomorrow night in Sunday's final in Windsor. Henrique, yesterday on the show, brought up Kovalchuk, and I find that interesting. You've not played with Ilya Kovalchuk, just against him. He played with him on a Stanley Cup final team the last time the Devils made the playoffs. Is this a little bit of something? Obviously, he brought it up to us, not us to him, so it's something players are sort of talking about, whether he'd play with you guys or whether at best, at worst, I should say, you are able, the organization's able to trade him and bring a lot back in. So this could be an unbelievable boost to you guys, either getting him plus the number 1 pick or getting whatever he brings. That's on players' minds a bit, right?
Yeah, from what I'm hearing, I'm not sure if he wants to be in New Jersey or not, but I think, along with the number 1 overall pick, either playing with Kovalchuk or getting an asset for him. And then this summer is just crazy with the expansion draft. So there's a lot of opportunity for our team for us to grow and acquire some skill and acquire some needs that we got to have. So that's what I'm looking forward to. I think Ray Shiro has a great plan and what we need to do and what we need to get in place here. And it's a really good summer to take care of that because, we have a ton of cap space and, a young team that looks pretty promising. So hopefully we can do that.
With Taylor Hall, New Jersey Devil, and as we mentioned a few times, two-time Memorial Cup champion. Before we let you go, right? I mean, because Greg asked you, you're going there even though they've won without you. You're superstitious in any way? I mean, lucky hat, lucky shoes, different seat. I mean, you talk to a certain person. Anything that you think would help that you're superstitious or not?
No, to be honest, I'm not really that superstitious. I've never sat in the WFCU Center and actually watched the game there. I've always been playing. So, I think for all of us, there's a ton of us going, a ton of alumni that were on those 2 Memorial Cup teams, and we're all excited to get down there and root on the guys and hopefully they can do it. I think Windsor's it was such a fun town to win in, and there's so much history with the Memorial Cup that. It's just such a fun tournament to play in, so it's going to be a great weekend.
So people have said to me over 8 or 9 years, tell us a story about doing the 1 year when Taylor was 16 and Ryan Ellis was 16. I'm like, they didn't get their own seat for a good chunk of the year. Then they started scoring points, and then like a 19-year-old veteran who'd play like 7 minutes would maybe – eventually you guys got your own seat, and a bunch of different people sat with another person. I'm dying to ask about Ryan Ellis's beard. Like, you get to know him as a 16-year-old. You probably – Did you ever see him pulling that off? And he's done it all year. It's not even a playoff beard anymore. Did you ever see him doing that?
No, I didn't. I think he even had it last year.
Yeah.
I don't think he's ever cut it. No, I didn't see him pull. He always had just kind of short hair and was always clean shaven and was always a pretty quiet kid. Until you really got to know him, and then. But, some guys, they grow into their personalities, and not only has he grown into his personality, but just as a hockey player, he dominates out there quite similar to how he played in junior. And it's something that I always knew would happen just based on his skill level and playing with him in junior. But it's great to see him finally showing that to everyone, in the world, how good of a defenseman he is and how important he is to that team there. So,
will you go full beard? Will you, if you make the Stanley Cup final, would you go that kind of beard, or would you just keep it more reasonable,
can't have that
responsible?
Kind of beard. That's a Ryan beard.
That's
right
what I
there.
mean.
Yeah.
A Joe, like a Brett Burns type beard.
I would just shave the night before the playoffs and roll with that. I think that's got to be too hard to maintain and probably pretty itchy before bed.
All those things.
All right. Best of luck. Enjoy the Memorial Cup and have a great season next year. Taylor Hall, thank you.